get some welcome to Racin stuff, our 12th episode, and welcome to Mondays, Chris. How are you doing today?
I'm good. Welcome to Mondays. Welcome to a new logo. Welcome to lots of things.
I like
for us.
I like the new logo. If you're watching us on YouTube or FVTV, I think it looks pretty sweet. I like the fact that if you look close enough, you can see Junior's car. Somehow that 24 car seems to be the most prominent.
That was honestly accidental. I promise.
Yeah, sure you do.
Maybe subconsciously it wasn't.
Last time I'm letting you make the logo because there's going to be a next time. As always, this is the show where we talk about racing and other stuff, and by other stuff I mean other sports. I have to keep pointing that out because my friend Heidi's like, "Where's the stuff?" There's no stuff. That's just race, or there's racing and sports. But anyway, we had I would say it was a moderate weekend. It wasn't as big as last weekend's, but there was the race yesterday, and I think it's funny. I think you and me are a little disagreement. I thought it was a decent race at Dover yesterday.
I thought you were going to say something else. Sorry. No. This is funny because even with Jimmy Johnson, one of my favorite drivers, winning, I would have liked to see more battling for the lead. I thought that the racing, beside necessarily outside the lead, was pretty good. Of course, what's funny is I said that with about 50 to go before everything happened at the end.
Yes, that's true. You did. I mean, that was before there was actually racing for the lead.
Yeah, it was a fantastic finish, and I guess that's in our talking about the race, that's an interesting thing, in a good place to start. I never thought when he fell back to, was it 7th or 8th? I never thought
it was 8th. He restarted 8th with 25 to go.
And I think you said you didn't think so either.
I didn't think so
first.
Because I didn't think so until he was like in 4th with 15 to go. And I was like, oh, he's actually pretty close considering. No, because the fact of the matter was he was starting on the outside 8th, so it would have been technically like 16th. So we had 8 lapped cars and 7 lead lap cars to pass. And he had 25 laps to do it at a track where you take a lap in 23 seconds. So it's like 3 laps a minute. I mean, it just didn't seem like he had enough time to really catch him. But that's a testament to how great his car was. His car was, without a shadow of a doubt, dominant. And there was nobody that had anything that could touch it.
Yeah. And what's interesting is I heard an analysis afterward that said that what that final finish did was just prove the stamp to put a stamp on what he had on the field yesterday. He just nobody came close to him, and it was very impressive. I know he's not one of your favorite drivers, and I know he is one of my favorites, but it was very impressive. I would have been impressed I wouldn't have been impressed if Kyle Busch did it, but if somebody else did it, I would have been impressed.
I credit the car. I credit the team. Not saying that Jim Johnson. I mean, it takes a good driver to make that car go fast, but I mean, if that car wasn't as good as it was, there's no way he's making it back up there.
Yep.
And that's, I mean, I don't care how
sure.
good. I don't care how good of a driver he is or not, whatever you want to say. The car was just by far the class of the field, and nobody could touch him. And the announcers kept trying to make it sound like somebody was going to touch him at one point. Early on it was like, oh, here comes Biffle, and later on it was like, well, Kenseth, and this is the point where Kenseth is going to all of a sudden show his hand and show he's got the fastest car, and nobody had it. And that last run proved it.
Yeah, he dominated. And what I liked, and I actually thought kind of interesting, was that final pit stop with 25 to go or 30 to go, where I mean, it ended up only being 4 or 5 cars that took 2, and what was interesting also about the announcers and Johnson is they kept making it sound like he lost 8 spots in the pits, but that's not. It wasn't that. He lost only about 3.
He lost 3 due to a bit slower pit stop than normal, but that's about it. I mean, if otherwise he would have come off 4th, and if he comes off pit road 4th,
he takes the lead right away.
There's no way anybody's holding him off. Yeah. No way.
But I think that was very interesting, and I think that was a very good call. And I mean, we always try and stay away from the woulda, coulda, shouldas, what if.
Yeah.
But if there were just a few laps less, I think Tony Stewart would have had him. But when he passed, I forget who he passed for 3rd. Who was it?
Johnson?
Yeah. I don't remember who was 3rd at the time. Was it?
It had to. In 3rd.
I don't remember, but whoever he passed to get into 3rd.
Kurt Busch.
Yes, when he passed Kurt Busch to get to 3rd, I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be interesting, and Stewart did a great job. It was a great battle, and I just think that I forgot where I was going with that.
Well,
that's the second we can rub on that.
Here's the thing I want to say is that I admired watching I admire watching Stewart and Johnson play with the racing lines and all that. I love the way that Stewart was running the bottom until he passed Biffle, and then he got smart and decided to start running the middle, which we were talking about. We were talking about when we were watching the race, and because Johnson about 15 to go started moving up higher on the racetrack. He hadn't done that all day.
And as per usual, we noticed that before the announcers did.
Well, I think they noticed it, but I said right away the reason he was doing it was because he knew when he caught them, he was going to have to pass them on the outside because they were taking up the bottom. And at first, DW was like, oh, no, he's just searching. He's trying to find something, trying to make it sound like Johnson was struggling, which I knew that wasn't what it was. Johnson was just was preparing himself. But Stewart, it was almost like Stewart was chilling until he saw Johnson coming, and then he passed Biffle. The moment he passed Biffle, he goes right to the middle. And he stayed there. And, Johnson kept trying to go on the inside, couldn't get it done. He finally had to just kind of just squeeze him on the outside.
And there was that one time where
Stewart cut him off. Well, Stewart cut him off. And I actually said if he does that again, Johnson's going to dump him. He's going to get spun out.
Yeah, it was, and then what was it? It was the next lap he got by him.
And I told you, the moment Johnson gets outside of Stewart, Stewart was done. If Stewart, and actually I think Stewart might have won if he had moved up a little higher. If he could have run about maybe half groove higher, and then like kind of almost diamond the track because kind of go in a little bit
because
the middle,
then
come up.
Because what the middle does, and we can agree, I almost think if you can make your car work there, the middle in that situation is the best place to run.
At Dover, it really is.
Yes, because it takes, as you kind of said, it takes everything away. It takes the high side away from getting up there and getting room, except for hitting the wall to clear the guy.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to go on the outside, somebody's running the middle, it's because you have absolute confidence that in that one groove two is right, that you can make it stick and you won't hit the wall or him. I know if I was like on a video game doing that, I'm hitting the wall or I'm hitting you. I'm not going to the outside clean.
And then if you're in the middle, you can get underneath him, but you have no room to clear.
Yeah, and the thing too about being in the middle is that if a guy goes outside, you can kind of cram a little bit, make him, have to be scared about, give him less room. If he's down low, you can come down a little bit, squeeze him down there. I think all day yesterday though it showed that it was really hard to pass in the bottom. The guys really need to pass like on the outside and. I think that's why I think Stewart should have probably gone about a half groove higher, but maybe he couldn't make it work any higher or whatever. Or maybe if he went any higher, then Johnson would have just completely cleared him on the bottom right away. And I don't know. Like I said, woulda, coulda, shoulda. It happened the way it happened. Honestly, I admire Stewart because they took a ninth place car again and finished second with it, and they almost won. I continue to admire them. And
because of that, he's the points leader now.
Yeah, because Gordon ran terrible.
Yeah. Well, what's interesting is he ran terrible for most of the race that got him behind, and then at the end he was running. He did stay up there in the top 5 or 6. It's just he was 2 laps down.
He was in the 20s. He was like 22nd, and then that's when a bunch of guys got caught down a lap down because of the caution. And then
he got caught 1 down. And
got caught 1 lap down, and then after that he was running poor enough, and they had a long green flag lap. Yeah, and you fell asleep during this portion of the race, but actually, when Johnson caught him, he actually gave him like good 20 laps to try to get going, and finally end up saying, I have to pass you. So I mean,
benefits of a teammate for sure. But you said he was even being too patient.
He probably was, yeah. But it was it was in the middle of the race. I mean, it wasn't like you were going to lose the win if you let somebody pass you for the lead.
Yeah.
And
it's just
the funny part about that, and I guess you missed this too, was that Waltrip was trying to.
Oh no, I did see this part where he was. Yeah,
Waltrip was like, "Oh no, he's just waiting. He's just waiting." Yeah, you're not about to go 2 laps down if you're just saving your car.
That just baffles me. How do they even think that's?
Because DW has his favorites.
How is that possible?
Darrell Waltrip has his favorites.
I guess
Gordon is one of his favorites. So is Johnson. Basically, the big names are his favorites. And that goes for Junior, Kyle Busch, especially Kyle Busch these days. You don't ever hear him like saying great things about Reed Sorensen. Unless Reed Sorensen's up in the top 3, and it's like, oh, this kid's got so much talent. He's gonna win his first race one of these days. And I'm like, he's driving the 43 car. He's not winning anything anytime soon.
Yeah, it's just he didn't run very well for most of the race, and he did run well at the end. It's just
the car was fast enough. I mean, but you say run well. I mean, it's not like he had anything for Johnson either.
No, he didn't.
And even then, I mean, if he was running, he would have been like 6th.
At best.
On the lap.
At
yeah,
best.
That's where he was. He would. I mean, he dropped just as far back as anybody else did on the restart.
That was probably his. What'd you do, bump?
Yeah, my hat hit the mic.
That was probably one of his worst performances of the year.
Yeah, that's surprising. It almost seems like Gordon's starting to move backwards a little.